Welcome to the Seahawkers podcast with your hosts, Adam Emmert.
There's a lot of words I wanted to use there that I'm self-editing.
And Brandon Schultz.
I didn't like that he didn't finish. Where's the clutch?
Go Hawks!
This is episode 227 of the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers, joined by my good buddy, Montana Seahawker Adam Emmert.
Well, I think we should all be thankful and recognize how privileged we are to get to steal Brandon Schultz for about 15 seconds on his vacation here, because he's in a damn hurry to get this show done. So welcome to the Seahawkers podcast. We lost to the Rams. I think we'll beat Green Bay. And with that...
There's only one thing left to say.
There you go.
I wasn't saying it needed to be that quick of a show, Adam.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is like my boot camp episode, Division 227. That's it's a memorable number for me. So I can't just blow right through this.
How your boot camp was labeled 227?
Every division in boot camp, at least in the Navy, gets a division number.
Oh, I didn't know.
And my boot camp division was 227.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I wish I could celebrate the 227 episode with you with a win, but unfortunately, it was a stupid loss.
A stupid loss to the stupid Rams.
Oh, my God. I hate them so much, Brandon. I catfishing hate the catfishing Rams. I hate them.
I know. I kept saying that throughout the game, watching them just doop, doop, doop right down the field all day long, except for maybe the second quarter. That was the one quarter there where you go, hey, we're kind of holding them a little bit. And then the Seahawks offense was like, hey, we're not going to go anywhere because, we feel comfortable with a 4-point lead.
Something like that. But that's one thing that really stood out to me right out of the gate. We got precisely 2 stops all game. 2. That's why in the second quarter, when we got the 1 stop, you saw Ken Norton celebrate like he just won another Super Bowl.
I was pretty excited then. I was pretty excited that after that second drive for the Seahawks, that was an impressive drive. The first one, we got bailed out by a roughing the QB call, and then Rashad Penny turns it on in that second drive. A lot of people were speculating, Adam, that we didn't do a post-game show after the Rams because Rashad Penny had over 100 yards rushing.
I took offense to that comment because who was the one that called for Penny to have a big game?
That's true.
I said it in the last show. I was like, look at the way the Saints used Alvin Kamara, and that would be a template as to how the Seahawks could use Rashad Penny. And they went out there and they did it, and he had a nice game, and I'm happy about it. And somehow everybody thinks I'm ducking it. Look, I just said Rashad Penny wasn't ready at the beginning of the year, and he hasn't been. It looks like maybe he's starting to get up to speed now.
And that's a good thing. You want your rookie to get up to speed. He had 2 veteran players ahead of him, and Chris Carson, who's still clearly the better running back, and Mike Davis, where you go, maybe with some more time, Penny can reach that. I like Mike Davis catching the ball out of the backfield, and he's a good guy to have in behind Carson.
Holy smokes, I'm really excited about the backfield between Chris Carson, Mike Davis, and Rashad Penny. All of those guys can play. I think Penny's now elevated himself from can't play and not ready to ready and can play. Like, it's taken him some time to learn how to function in an NFL offense.
You left out one of the main dudes of the backfield, Russell Carrington Wilson, 9 rushes, 92 yards. We finally saw Russell Wilson's legs in this game.
Yes, he looked like the Russell Wilson of old, and he really kind of tore up the Rams. One of my takeaways from this game is that the Rams' defense isn't any good. They're legitimately bad.
Yeah, we've known that all season, right?
Not according to the national media.
It's because their offense overshadows. Their offense is so good. You look at the defense and you say, all they have to do is get 3 stops in a game, and that's all they need.
Well, okay. So that's another theory I want to touch on, because that's the new NFL. There isn't any defense anymore. If you can get 4 stops in a game, you win. That's basically it. If you can stop the opposing offense 4 times, you win, whether that's on a turnover or whether that's just actually getting him off the field. And we got 2 stops. That's 2 stops too short. You can't play defense anymore. So basically your de facto defense these days is running the football yourself just to keep the ball out of the hands of the opposing offense. It's really gross football. That was an ugly game to watch.
I wonder if running the ball, but also something that the Seahawks employed in this game, but it wasn't until the fourth quarter, was attempting an onside kick. I'm starting to wonder if that's how you attack these teams like the Chiefs and the Rams, and just to try and get one of those turnovers in those situations, because one, after a score, it's a good way to pick up a quick turnover, potentially. I mean, it's not that great. It's a low percentage play, but you are guaranteed to get the ball back a little bit more quickly if you onside kick it. And I feel like you take away half the field from an offense like the Rams or the Chiefs, because they only have to drive that much shorter of a field, and you're just trying to get them to kick a field goal instead of score a touchdown.
Right. So I was going to ask you how you felt about that onside kick, because
I liked it. I wish they would have done it more.
Well, I don't know if you can do it more. I mean, let me put it to you this way. I liked the thought process behind why you would go with the onside kick there. Just like you said, try to steal a possession away. If you do give it up to the Rams, well, whoop-de-doo. Now they're going to score one way or the other. So now they just score a little faster. So now you can get the ball back a little sooner, because that's the new NFL. It's track meet football. And really, there's not a lot of downsides there.
The downside would have been if the Rams would have scored a touchdown on that possession. But, they did hold them to a field goal. It was still a touchdown possession game.
They were scoring points on that drive no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, they were going to. We hadn't stopped them all freaking day. And look, the only thing I don't like about the call for the onside kick there is that I love the idea and the philosophy of it if it were last year or any previous year. But this year, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because your cover guys can't take a running start anymore.
Yeah.
And so when you're from a dead stop to try to recover the ball 10 yards down the field, that low percentage play is now even lower. And especially if you got somebody like Janikowski who can't kick a freaking onside kick for the life of him.
After the game, Pete Carroll said that in practice, it looked a lot different. Than it did in the game. Not real helpful. You gotta execute apparently how you do in the game as you do in practice if it's gonna work. I don't know how it looked in practice, so I can't really judge one way or the other. But I'll take Pete's word for it that they nailed it in practice.
There you go. Hey, my biggest takeaway wasn't the idea that the onside kick was a bad call or anything like that. My biggest takeaway in this game is the D in D line stands for dumpster fire, because our defensive line stunk up the joint in that game. They got no pressure on Goff. I mean, he had a clean pocket of 2-3 yards in any direction around him at all times, and was able to just carve up late breaking 15-yard in cuts and curls. Like they hit us with that all game long, as the DBs tried to not give up anything over the top like they should have. They really didn't give up any big plays, I guess, except for the 3rd and 15, because we had to give up yet another freaking 3rd and long. That was really fun. The D-line was atrocious, not just in pass rush, but also stopping the run. I mean, Gurley had holes that you could drive a Mack truck through. It was pathetic. The D-line got smoked.
7.5 yards per carry by Gurley, just 16 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. So we held him to fewer touchdowns, but Jared Goff and Brandon Cooks, that link up for him, 10 catches, 100 yards. The cool thing was seeing Bobby Wagner give the business to Cooper Kupp throughout most of the day.
Yeah, that was fun until Kupp got injured, and that sucked.
I didn't even see how he went down.
It was non-contact. He just went to plant on I believe it was his left leg, and away it went, which really stinks. I mean, I don't wish that on anybody, even though I really dislike the guy.
No,
as a football player.
I'd like to see Bobby Wagner over the middle, lighten him up.
Yeah, I like that too. Well, you can't expect the secondary to cover as long as they were expected to cover, especially against receivers of that caliber. You got to have some sort of pass rush, and you have to and the only way that you're going to be able to generate that pass rush is if you stop the run and make them one-dimensional so you know what's coming. The idea that Gurley could just run wild and not be touched until he was 3-4 yards down the field on every time he touched the ball, that was the biggest difference in the game to me as far as the Seahawks performance.
Gurley had a day. Our defensive line did not have a day. And I think that one play that stood out with our defensive line, you talk about that 3rd and long that the Seahawks gave up. They only rushed 3 dudes. They dropped 8 guys into coverage, and they still couldn't cover Robert Woods on that play.
Well, look, here's the thing. If Goff if Goff can stand back there for 10 seconds at a time and just scan the field, oh, read 1, oh, read 2, here comes read 3, maybe I'll throw it to read 4. Now, I'll have a cup of coffee, and then I'll look at read 5 and be like, oh, there it is. It's 3rd and 15. He's 18 yards downfield, now uncovered because we've asked him to cover for a decade, the defensive backfield, and donk, like he just hits him.
Wouldn't you rather see the Seahawks blitz on 3rd and 15 rather than drop 8 dudes?
Yeah, the lack of pressure is a gigantic problem.
That's what I mean. You can't generate pressure with 3 guys. You couldn't do it with 4.
Not usually, no. They're just going to run you off past the 3rd down marker and then run one dude underneath, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's frustrating. And the thing is it's difficult to get mad at Ken Norton or Pete Carroll regarding the play of the defense because defenses aren't allowed to play defense anymore.
The NFL has a little bit of a problem, I think. Well, maybe they don't, because I think this is what they want. You see the offenses that are able to adapt and have success are Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Sean Payton. You know, if you have a coach named Sean, then you're in pretty good shape. You
have a 2/3 chance of being a very innovative offense.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, at this point, and dare I say it, if your offensive coordinator's first name is Brian, you don't have a bad shot at having a good offense as well. Like a tip of the visor to Brian Schottenheimer for another well-called game. I like the diversity in the offense. I like the mix of calls. Everything about the offense is really clicking, short of Russell Wilson trying to do a little too much when the pocket starts to collapse on him. He needs to understand when to give up on a play. He's having a hard time with that this year. I mean, because he had a potential interception in that game where he was in the grasp of somebody. They had a potential intentional grounding call late in the game that ended up being offsetting penalties for something else, or they called it back for some reason, and he didn't get called.
That was the play. You know, they use that term in the area. They use that pretty liberally, I think, with Mike Davis, because it was clear that Russell was trying to chuck the ball to not take a sack.
Right.
And Mike Davis was in the area.
So since you're out west and in Southern California, and I'm up here in Montana, should I call you in the area since you're this side of the Mississippi?
I'm in the western United States, so
okay.
yes, I am in your area.
I guess Mike Davis was in the area, yeah.
It's like I said, it was a liberal call by the officials, but we'll take that one.
Yeah.
And that was offsetting penalties by Aaron Donald and Justin Britt. Britt with a clear late hit out of bounds in the back of Aaron Donald.
That guy deserves it. I'm not for dirty plays, but Aaron Donald's been hanging out with Sue too much because he's turned into a jerk. I can't wait to see these guys again.
I like it.
What a coward with Donald. Look, if you're a real tough guy, you know what you do? You don't put on your helmet before you run out on the field to try to start a fight. Are you joking?
Yeah, after the game, if you've seen the video, it shows Aaron Donald on the sidelines, and it looks like he says something to Sue or one of the other Rams. And he goes and he has his pads off already.
Right.
He goes and he finds his helmet and puts it on to go over and challenge Justin Britt after the game.
Yeah, that's a there's a lot of words I wanted to use there that I'm self-editing. That's a weak sauce move. Let's put it that way.
If you know you're going to go in and get into it with a guy, go at it.
Let me protect the moneymaker and then walk out there.
And now I'll go talk trash.
Yeah. And then do the patented NFL quote unquote fight where you grab the other dude's face mask and you jerk him around like a dog on a leash. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the Rams playing dirty all game, and that's why they got a zillion personal fouls called on them.
It did help us out in a few situations. You know, there was the one I mentioned to keep the first drive alive for the Seahawks, and then they got a little bit of help with unsportsmanlike in the second half on the very first drive of the second half.
Yeah, the Rams are an undisciplined team
on third down too. So
yeah,
thanks.
That crap's going to catch up to them. It's definitely going to catch up to them at some point. Depending on who they end up playing in the playoffs, the undisciplined nature of the Rams, which I told you, like coming into this season, the knucklehead factor was going to be a problem for them, and you're starting to see it show its ugly head.
Well, you did see them get the 3 stops that they needed in this game, but Michael Dixon, there was a highlight of this game, a 68-yarder, a 57-yarder, and a 40-yard punt that was downed at the 3.
You know what it takes to kick the ball that far? Big balls. And yeah, Dixon had himself a game. It was really impressive. I mean, I've run out of superlatives to describe the guy. I mean, I was going to give, well, you know what? I'll give special teams a B+ on the day, just because the execution on the onside kick was terrible. But otherwise, coverage was great. Mm-hmm. The returns were, I guess, so-so. But Dixon, man, holy smokes. I mean, he gave the defense a fighting chance to actually be able to get more than 2 stops in the game.
Well, you mentioned returns. I mean, what did they have? 2 opportunities. He had one that was kicked out of the end zone and a punt that was kicked out of bounds. So
sure,
Lockett had 2 chances at it. And really, Lockett was another guy with a pretty solid game. Had the touchdown and had that run where an amazing spin move and gets the face mask.
Oh my gosh. That's what you and I are right on the same wavelength today, Brandon, because I was like, man, Brian Schottenheimer has really unlocked Lockett. I mean, he's using him in all sorts of different creative ways. That run you're talking about where he breaks a tackle in the backfield and then gets about 7 yards upfield and then whoop, gives him the spin move. That was super duper impressive.
Yeah, Lockett with 18 yards on that run.
What else was impressive is after the catch, he had a couple nice little runs. I mean, nothing huge and explosive, but taking a 3-yard hitch route and turning it into a 8-yard gain. Sure. It's those little things like that really add up in the end and keep your offense on schedule. Look, we barely talked about Russell either. I mean, other than dog him a little bit here and there, which is totally unfair because he played a great game.
It was good.
What didn't you like?
I didn't like that he didn't finish. Where's the clutch? Where's the clutch Russell Wilson that hits Tyler Lockett on 3rd and 10 when he's wide open down the field? He might not have seen him. And then on 4th down, just overthrows him just a little bit.
Okay, the 4th down throw is a really difficult throw. Moving forward and to your left and having to feather it over the defender and then drop it in the bucket. And we've seen him hit that more times than not, but he missed. But you're right, the finish isn't there. It hasn't been there all season. This whole season. Yeah, exactly. And that's frustrating. I don't know where that has been lately. And I'm not sure exactly what the problem is with that. I mean, but you also got to understand, he got him down the field and in position to even be there,
Right.
I mean,
and they were down 2 scores, and so they had to drive the entire length of the field, and then they had to drive, back down there again, and it looked like they were going to. They could have done it. Spiking it on 1st down.
Out of timeouts.
You were out of timeouts, but you heard Romo kind of talking I think you could make this go here, but he's going to spike it.
Yeah, well, how many championships did Romo win?
I mean, I think you could, but he had 3 plays where they didn't make it happen, so I'm not that concerned about it. But he had a good day. I mean, 17 of 26 is pretty solid.
Wait, how many yards did he have? That's what I really want to know.
Oh, yeah. Well, he had 100. He had under 200 yards. So I mean, 176 yards. Yeah,
it doesn't feel like he had under 200 yards.
Oh, he had, I think after the first half, I don't even know if he had 50 yards in the first half.
Really?
They ran the bejesus out of the ball.
Well, I know, but it just felt like he was carving them up a little bit here and there. That just surprises me, I guess.
In the first half, he was 6 of 8 for 39 yards.
Well, that's the funny thing about yards, right? Because 6 for 8, I mean, he kept the offense moving and scored. How many points did we score in the first half?
They only had 10 points in the first half, and that was the other gripe that I had.
They scored touchdowns on their first 2 drives. They had at least 14.
Yeah, you're right. They had 14. It was 17-14 going into the half. And yeah, it was because Penny chewed up all the yardage on the second drive. And you had Davis in there on the first drive. He had 50 yards rushing at the end of the first half. So at the end of the first half, you had 133 on the ground, 56 to Penny, 50 to Davis, 18 to Lockett, and Russell had 12. So they just didn't throw the ball all that. They threw it had 6 completions in the first half. I guess my one gripe was that they didn't score before halftime. I
mean, I guess that's kind of the trend, right? That final 2-minute drive right before half.
Yeah, they had the ball. And so
exactly. And the Rams are getting the ball coming out in the second half. Like
right.
that was the part of that seemed very important to me. It's like, it's one thing if you're getting the ball in the second half, but they weren't.
Well, fortunately, they did hold the Rams to a field goal on that first possession for them coming out of halftime, and that gave them the opportunity to get back up and be 21-20, taking the lead after in the third quarter there.
You consider field goals a victory in today's day and age.
I was going to ask you because, you say 3 to 4 stops. That
half
doesn't
stops.
include...
Those are half stops.
That's a half stop. Okay.
It's a half stop. So I guess what? They held him to 2 field goals?
2 punts and 2 field goals. So that's a total of 3 stops.
There you go. You were 1 short. And that kind of lines up with the score.
Yeah.
Also, we talked about because that also lines up too with, we talked about in the last show, the magic number was 30. If you could hold the Rams below 30, you win the game.
And they would have done it. Another disappointing loss to the stupid Rams. And now we move on to the Packers, where it kind of feels like an elimination game.
Ooh, I guess I hadn't thought about it in those terms, but yes, it does. I mean, you need this one. You really do. It did help that the Falcons and the Eagles lost this last weekend as well in the hunt for a wild card spot. Because I think they're
and
eighth.
The Panthers lost.
Yeah, that was awesome. That made me really happy.
They got smoked.
I was laughing the whole time I saw that box score rolling by.
You even got to see Cam Newton with the towel on his head. That's when you know that it's a good game for the opposing team.
Yeah,
if Cam Newton breaks out the towel to throw over his head.
Yeah, it's just a good day for me. I can't stand that guy.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that if he's on your team, you really like him. And if he's not, you don't.
I don't even know if he's on your team if you really like him. I would be infuriated as a Panthers fan with Cam Newton.
It's just because the way you are.
No, just the
you don't like that. You like the Barry Sanders hand the ball to the official.
So that's half of it, and then the other half is the inconsistency. Yeah. It would drive me insane.
Yeah, you want your good quarterback to always be good.
Exactly.
Well, coming into this game, the Packers are 4-1, and the Seahawks are now 4-5. So even if you do win this game with the Packers tie, it's really not going to help you out any unless the Packers end up getting another tie. But it will go a long way to helping you stay in the race coming down the stretch. And I feel like this is one of those games where, well, I don't know, is it? Because you've brought up this question many times throughout the season.
Yeah.
Are the Seahawks the worst of the good teams or the best of the bad teams? Mm-hmm. And we have 2 good bad teams. Or bad good teams.
I think we have 2 bad good teams.
I think so too.
I think that's what it is. After pondering on that a little bit over the weekend, as I was sitting there grinding band mill wheels, like where I just sit there and like turn a crank, while the sparks are flying for like 4 hours, just back and forth. It's like I'm fist pumping all day, and like I have time to think a little bit. And after pondering that, I think we're the second or third worst of the good teams. We're a good team. I was just watching finally sitting down because I didn't get to watch it live. Finally getting to sit down and watch the game against the Rams. It really solidified that we're not that far away, although we are a year away.
Particularly on the defensive side of the ball, right? Like those the young players on the defense. But unfortunately, that's another year down the road for guys like Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright if he comes back next year. Yeah,
KJ didn't come out of last game very clean. I mean, it sounds like he was hurting a little bit. The knee that is troubling. He hasn't been quite the unifying force that I think we had all hoped when he came back to really kind of help that defense take it to the next level.
He only played 39 snaps in this game, so they did take him out a little early. Also landed on the out list for Clinton Bonner's 3 in, 3 out. And Pro Football Focus had him as the second worst graded Seahawks defender, along with Tedrick Thompson as the worst.
Oh, T2 got smashed in this game, huh?
Yeah, tackling, especially in the tackling grade. The 3 guys that came out the worst in the tackling department, Frank Clark, KJ Wright, and Tedrick Thompson.
Yeah, this defense is going to have its hands full with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense because, look, you give Jared Goff time and he'll carve you up. You give Aaron Rodgers time, and, I mean, those could be 60-yard lasers every throw. And what would hurt even more is if they were 60-yard lasers to Jimmy Graham every throw.
I don't know if I were, well, KJ Wright, it would be nice to have him, a healthy KJ Wright. I don't know if that's going to be possible on the short week. But who's this dude that rushed for all these yards for the Packers this last week? Do we have to worry about him?
Yes. Yes, after watching the way that we got manhandled on the defensive line this last game, yes, we have to worry about Aaron Jones. He's actually a pretty dynamic player.
Okay.
And who was I was listening to somebody. I just wish I could give credit, but they brought up the stat of Aaron Rodgers' record when he throws the ball 30 times or less compared to 30 times or more. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's basically, almost batting 1,000 when he throws it 30 times or less. I mean, the shift is crazy. He's like he's closer to 50-50 when it's 30 throws or more, and he's like almost invincible when it's under 30 throws. So if Aaron Jones can run the football and they can move the ball on the ground with ease, and Aaron doesn't have to throw the ball that much, that spells a tough day for the Seahawks.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers not even 200 yards throwing in his last game.
He sucks. Bench him. He's terrible.
I know. He managed to beat the Dolphins 31-12. And a big part of that was Aaron Jones, his 15 carries, 145 yards. I haven't seen enough of him to know if he's, a Todd Gurley type player. I know the Packers offensive line isn't as good as the Rams offensive line.
That part is definitely helpful. The D-line needs to find some way to get some pressure. And again, this comes down to basically what? Like the 3 stops that you need to actually beat the Packers? Because I look at that Packers defense and I'm like, okay, no problem. I mean, we just took on the Rams, whoop-de-doo. Like, this offense isn't going to have much of a problem with the Green Bay Packers defense. I haven't had any respect. I didn't have any respect for him coming into the season, and it's proved out throughout the year.
Well, Jimmy Graham, checking his numbers, only 2 touchdowns on the year. He has a few yards, 439 through the 9 games. So
he's been okay. The guy you got to worry about in the passing game is Devontae Adams. He's actually a hell of a player. But everybody else at that point, it's a bunch of guys that you're going, who the hell is that? I mean, Valdez Scantling. Yeah, I've definitely. I mean, that's his last name. That's not even his full name. There's a hyphen in there, and in St. Brown.
Oh, I'm familiar. I know St. Brown.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you know what? You know why I didn't say his first name?
Yeah, because there's no way you can.
Equanimeous? Is he from Greece? Was he in the Iliad or the Odyssey? Equanimeous?
I think you got about as close as you can. I think that's close.
Equanimus?
Hey, stop
Equanimus.
I'm pretty sure one of those was correct.
It's like, you just throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks,
Equanimous?
There we go.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's how I know that dude's name, is because of that. Because I look at the name and go, yeah, I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, this is going to be another shootout, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, and really, I mean, it'll come down to turnovers. We lost a turnover battle in this game, or in this last game, and I think that was kind of the nail in the coffin, the strip sack by Fowler. I mean, Similar situation here. I don't know that you're going to get Aaron Rodgers to make a mistake. You need somebody else to do it.
Who do you have to worry about on that defensive line for the Packers, though?
Your mom.
My mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glenda's going to strap it up, and we got problems. Yeah.
Kenny Clark, maybe.
Okay.
He's got 32 pressures on the year. Mike Daniels, 30 pressures on the year.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably Mike Daniels.
Yeah.
He might be their best player on defense, really.
Clark has 5 sacks so far.
Well, neat, but I think Mike Daniels I think it's a product of playing next to Mike Daniels.
Yeah, he's always kind of been the guy to worry about.
Absolutely.
And then the corners, I still don't think they have any good corners.
Well, I certainly haven't seen great corner play from them. Clay Matthews is obviously in decline.
Alexander, I guess, is okay.
Sure. I don't really... again, I'm starting to sour on the Pro Football Focus grades a little bit. They don't always match the eye test. For example, they've got Seattle's corners ranked really poorly. And it's like, I don't think they're playing terrible football. They're not playing amazing football, but it's not terrible.
No, well, I'm just looking at the pass breakups. He's had 6 on the year, so.
Sure.
But I guess if you get thrown at a lot.
Exactly. And I mean, maybe you're just standing there and the ball hits you in the back of the helmet. I mean, pass breakup. You know what I mean? Like those stats are tough to really know.
I just know from Packers fans that, they talk about how trash their corners are all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. It feels like Tyler Lockett, Doug Baldwin, and David Moore should have a day. And Chris Carson, supposedly healthy, magically healthy now, to come into this next game. That would be helpful. And DJ Fluker would be very helpful too. But we didn't even talk about Jordan Simmons.
Yeah, filling in at the right guard spot, coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, where did he come from again?
We got him from the Raiders cast him. He was a Tom Cable cast-off.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I thought for sure it was going to be Joey Hunt or Posick who started. And so I hadn't even looked. And then I did catch about a drive or two in the second quarter live. I was like, who the hell is Simmons? I really didn't know.
Yeah, he's been on the practice squad no, not the practice squad. He's just been inactive for most of the weeks here early on. And Pete Carroll talked about him after the game, saying that he was a guy that they liked. He didn't have a lot of college experience because he was hurt a lot, but apparently they really liked him. But the Raiders didn't like him well enough that he was, I think, part of their 53-man roster cuts. And he was, a late pickup addition to the team, and he's just been hanging out, waiting, and finally got his opportunity against the Rams. It was actually Jarrah Sweezy that gave up most of the sacks for Russell Wilson this past week. So going up against big dudes up the middle, and you had Simmons filling in well.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sweezy got smoked by Donald a number of times, and I mean, because he's awesome.
Because Aaron Donald's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he single-handedly blew up. You were talking about the drives in the second quarter. Aaron Donald single-handedly blew 2 of those up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just doing Aaron Donald things.
Yeah, that's going to happen when you're going up against Aaron Donald. We know that.
But Jordan Simmons did a nice job, but I'm not sad that DJ Fluker will be back against the Packers here.
And then another 10 days off after this game to get ready for the next one.
Right.
Against the Panthers.
Yeah, it's kind of your little mini bye going into that week. We'll see what the Panthers do in week 11 here. I'm hoping they are down and out by the time the Seahawks roll into Carolina. But, before looking ahead, they got to take care of business at home. They haven't been good at home this year. I don't feel great about this game. It's certainly winnable. But, dang, man, if you're going to get to 9 wins, this is one you circle.
Well, so the 2 losses at home are to the better of the good teams. With the Rams and the Chargers. I think you could put the Chargers up there, and they're not the Chiefs, Rams, or, there's the tier with the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Saints.
And the Patriots.
And maybe, no, I think you start the next tier with the Steelers and the Chargers.
No, that sounds just right. I think you're nailing it. Because a lot of people are saying Tom Brady's done after one bad game. Yeah.
No.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I got my wrist pick on that game. I'm happy about that.
Did you? I got my wrist pick too. I had Browns Falcons.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, good for us.
Yeah. Baker got me the win. How dirty did that feel?
I hope it feels good.
It felt dirty, man. I don't know.
You did mention the Panthers. They go on the road this week to the Lions, who, I'm not really counting on the Lions.
You never know with the Lions. They're frisky. They can do things sometimes.
I'm rooting for them.
We'll see. I mean, we're at this point in the season now. You got to watch the rest of the NFC pretty closely, and you're rooting for certain things to happen. And then you got to take care of business yourself. But it's all right there in front of them. And I mean, you hear Pete Carroll talk. You've heard Russell Wilson talk this last week after the loss to the Rams, and people asking, "Hey, I mean, are you guys? Do you have the capability to go anywhere? Like, can you reach your goals?" And Pete Carroll, no, I don't think we can meet our goals. I know we can. I mean, Russell Wilson, like, everybody should watch out for us right now. This team's feeling itself, even though they've had some really heartbreaking losses.
You got a game on the road against the Panthers and a game on the road against the 49ers. And then, do you even have any other road games, or is everything else at home?
I think so. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but that sounds about right.
We've had so many road games. I feel like we should be done.
Well, just kind of, looking forward and trying to figure out, like, do the Seahawks have a chance at the playoffs or not, and that sort of thing. Boy, you really start looking back at those first 3 weeks and go, geez Louise, if we just got one of those, that would change everything.
Starting out at 4-5, it doesn't put the playoffs out of reach. I mean, it hasn't done it in the past for the Seahawks. In 2015, so the year after the Super Bowl loss, they start off with losing 4 of their first 6 games, and then they were 4-5 after a loss to the Cardinals at CenturyLink that year, and then they go and they rattled off. They were 6-1 going down the stretch.
Yeah, these were teams that they did that over the course of a couple years, right? Like slower starts and then really turned it on towards the end of the year. That's something that Pete Carroll tries to stress. And we've seen struggles with the team finishing just even fourth quarters of games earlier on in the season. If history has shown us anything, this is the time when a Pete Carroll team comes together and starts really finishing both fourth quarters and the fourth quarter of the season. So it's go time.
It was that 2015 season where the defense was especially having trouble closing out games. So hopefully getting it together in the second half. And I think we're kind of getting it together here in the second half. And let's just go straight into a congratulations to, please, sir, I want some more. Cameron in Bloomfield, Connecticut, 11 picks correct, and he won the tiebreaker over Bryce Hawk's Tesla, and gets so he's the Week 10 winner of the Walter Jones signed replica jersey for our VIP flockers.
Dang, man, that's a hell of a prize that week.
And he actually did the right thing and didn't pick against the Seahawks.
Okay, we need to have a discussion about this right quick. Because I saw some stuff in the Ring of Honor, people being like, oh, it's an unofficial rule, and, like people scoffing at the idea that, you had to pick your team even though they were a 10-point dog on the road and those sort of things. It's not an unofficial rule. We're not playing. Like, we can't incorporate it into the website because we just don't have the programming powers. But trust me, it is a rule. You do not pick against the Seahawks. You don't. You don't do it.
That's bad Hawkra.
It's beyond bad Hawkra. It's literally illegal in the Pick'em League. Because it is a rule.
Yeah. Well, you know what I could do? Well, I just don't have the time for it. Would just be able to go in there and just change everybody's picks, before the game starts. Or after the game starts, because then you don't even have the opportunity to change it yourself.
True. Yeah. That's kind of fun.
I know. I wonder, there has to be some kind of script or something that somebody could write and that could do all that work for me to change everybody's picks, just so we know that among the people that listen to the show, they know how to do it right and not pick against their team.
I'm fine with the idea that everybody else doesn't have to do a risk pick, like we make each other do a risk pick,
Yeah, the risk pick that's an unofficial rule.
And that's, if you want to play along and be fair, unlike, say, somebody like Aaron Donald or some of those dirty players out there, if you want to play fair in the Pick'em League, like a Seahawk, then you would take a risk pick every week. Just saying, but I'm not gonna go, off on that. But if you pick against your Seahawks, I don't even know what to do with you. Just so that you win in the Pick'em League? Like, come on, man.
I know, that's
What are you overall in the Pick'em League? What are you overall in the Pick'em League right now?
Why would you ask that?
Because I'm curious. I am a ways out of the overall lead in the VIP flockers. I am 15? I'm 16 out on that. I'm 89 and 59.
Okay, Adam, you are at 153 with 89 wins. 89 correct. And
I'm in 153rd place?
Yeah.
How many people are in the league?
Like 400.
Okay, so I'm at least
You're
above
top half.
halfway. All right. Jesus, that's pathetic.
And I'm 174 with
That's
87.
more pathetic. That's
I'm
more
only
pathetic.
two picks behind you, though.
That's 2 picks more pathetic than me.
Well, I'm going to catch you this week.
Yeah, this is that time of year, man. I'm glad it's neck and neck, though, coming down the stretch here. That's really fun. I'm sorry we couldn't get out of Pick'em Show this last week. And, geez Louise, I guess I'm sorry that we didn't get out a post-game reaction. I mean, I didn't mean to work, until basically 11 o'clock at night and put in a 14-hour day and then not get in and then not watch the game and then not get in a post-reaction show. Real sorry about that. Jeez Louise.
It is part of the critical thing about doing a post-game show is actually watching the game. And actually, for you and I woke up at 5 a.m. On Wednesday and watched it before recording at 7 a.m. And I think you woke up about, and I think because we share a Game Pass account, you got on right after me to watch the game.
It had to have been. I mean, because I started it. We started this at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, and I started watching at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And I watched the condensed version.
So, yeah, we got it in.
Hey, look, and we said from the beginning, we'll do post-game shows unless I'm at the mill.
Right.
It's just how it is. Look, if I will guarantee that we will do a post-game show every single week if we get up to, 1,000 little flockers?
Right. Because then you don't have to work in the mill anymore.
That's exactly right. And trust me, I would love nothing more than to do that.
Yeah, you could do a lot more stuff if your full-time job was doing Seahawks podcasting.
Hells yeah. Yeah. And it would be a lot less dirty, a lot less dangerous. And I wouldn't have to drive. I think I'm guessing I probably put on close to 3,000 miles this weekend on my car.
Yeah. Well, me too. Driving all the way down to, I was bummed I missed out on the Southern California get together on Saturday. It was just that I needed to sleep on the way down, and that got in the way of my timing for my arrival. So
yeah,
I got down here just at 6 o'clock by the time it was getting done. So that was a bummer.
Well, you do what you can. I was worried about you having to be in Southern California after a loss to the Rams. But then I remembered, right, they don't have any real fans to heckle you, so this shouldn't even be a problem.
It hasn't been a problem. I've seen more Seahawks fans walking around in Seahawks gear in Southern California than I have Rams fans. Of all the gear that I've seen of other NFL teams, the Rams might be the least amount that I've seen.
That is both hilarious and makes me very happy to hear all at the same time.
Well, one thing to note, we may not get a pick show out this week unless Adam and Anthony can throw one together this week on KGZ, but I think you have another job to go to, too. So this,
I got to fly to Mississippi.
So, unfortunately, probably no pick show this week, but we do have some new members of the flock. Despite our troubles this week and being able to find time to get together, people sending their thanks their way, some value for the value that they receive by listening to the show.
Heck yeah, man. Appreciate it. Who are our new little flockers?
Got Mark Heffley in at 1212. Welcome to the flock, Mark.
Ooh, at 1212. So a new Ring of Honor entry.
Yes.
That's great. Welcome. You're going to enjoy it, bud.
Another Ring of Honor entry, Aaron Merriweather in at 1212. Welcome to the flock, Aaron.
Hey, really? 2 for 2 on Ring of Honor entrance. That's pretty cool.
And but we'll go 2 for 3. Thomas Fogelbowl is in for $1. So stickers and bonus shows for Thomas, even though he's not getting a bonus show this week.
I'm sorry that we're not going to get the bonus show, but I really appreciate you joining the flock, man. And look, I understand not everybody can get up and do the Ring of Honor thing, but hopefully that some of the lower tiers are still worth it for you. So appreciate it, man.
This is a value for value show, so whatever value you feel like you get out of the show and you want to give that back in return, whether it's through Patreon, getintheflock.com, or through PayPal at seahawkerspodcast.com/support, or you can write a review on iTunes like Juan Deonda did. It says, best Seahawks podcast ever. I love to listen to this podcast. I'm always waiting impatiently for the next show to be available for me to listen. Their styles are so different, but somehow that's what makes this podcast great. They somehow complete each other. Adam makes me laugh so hard every time he rants.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm glad that our odd couple vibe really is working overall.
Oh, yeah.
But that's great. Yeah, the reviews really help a lot. They really do.
They help keep us going, and so do our emails that come in as well. We got one here from Jeff, says, "Hi guys, these losses are tough on fans. Whatever happened to fourth quarter comebacks? The defense had trouble getting off the field. Number 3 misses the throw to Lockett, and it's game over. Sad. Why do they seem to be playing scared during these big moments? Go Hawks," from Jeff.
I'm not sure if it's scared, but we talked about it earlier. The finish doesn't seem to be there. There's a little bit of clutchiness there that's not quite coming through.
The one idea, I think I heard this posed in one of the press conferences or one of the chats with Pete Carroll. The idea that they're running the ball so much that when it comes time for Russell to throw, that there's somehow he's out of rhythm or some kind of, he doesn't have the practice throughout the game of throwing the ball, or it would probably be more rhythm than just the number of throws. That doesn't seem to match up for me.
Yeah, I'm going to call shenanigans on that. I don't think that's the deal. I mean, you just got to make the plays.
Yeah.
I guess is what it comes down to. I don't know. I haven't sat down and really analyzed it yet. And
I don't know if there's any way to analyze it. I think this is a very qualitative measure. Then,
yeah,
I guess you could get that just from watching, but I just don't think it's been there. I think the explanation is that this is we're the worst of the good teams, or among the worst of the good teams. We're a bad good team.
Right. And I mean, that's the difference, right? The Rams have won all these close games. Not just against us, but against multiple other teams.
Oh, they've had a lot of close games this year.
Right.
Thanks to their defense.
Yeah, that's just how tight the league is.
John Davison says, "Hi, fellas. Well, we got the Rams game live, so I could watch the whole game. I know we lost, and there were people who will argue that we should have beat them. I accept that. But I have to say, from a glass-half-full viewpoint, that I thought we did well. I loved our running game and the O-line and feel it doesn't need tinkering with. My only nagging doubt was with the quarterback, and while there is no way to criticize him after what he's done for us, I feel like it's not his best season, shall we say. I think some of the situations he got us into were avoidable. Well, I've said the last 4 games were vital, and now we've lost 2 of them. So let's go on now and win the next 2 and get back in the race, because I have no doubt we can do it. If it doesn't happen this season, it's going to next season, and maybe our fixtures won't be so brutal. I'll be riding the roller coaster, and go Hawks," from John. And I think John brings up a good point here, because, we were saying they had to go 2-2 over the next 4. Mm-hmm. Well, they've lost 2. They have the opportunity to still get 2. And if they do that with a win over the Packers and a win over the Panthers, they are kind of right back where we thought this team would be over that stretch of games.
Yeah, the opportunity is there. No doubt about it. I don't know. I mean, John kind of mentioned that he felt like Russell, it was avoidable, some of the situations that Russell put us in.
As far as throwing the ball away,
The sacks this game, good luck. I mean, pressure right up the gut like that. He tries to hang in the pocket and complete the throw, and there's really nowhere for him to bail to. Like, he just ate it. I don't know what else you do there. The strip sack, because there's so much pressure coming from the middle, he has nowhere to step up to avoid that. And, that's just a great play by Dante Fowler. I don't know that you put that on Russell. So I'm not sure that those situations were truly all that avoidable.
Well, thanks to John for sending that in, and thanks to Scott for answering our question. Scott was the beer delivery man in Spokane. He said, "Hey, again, to answer your question, even though I'm delivering beer all day, I still enjoy drinking beer. I don't mind having to leave beer behind at my accounts because there is enough beer to go around." The only thing that I have to hear is the same joke all the time. People saying, "Hey, could you put that beer in my car?"
What, that gets old?
That gets old? Yeah, I know I've used that joke at least twice, just on my own, Scott.
Well, I appreciate Scott giving us the pro tip. That one's going to have to go. I'm going to have to retire that one. Maybe this is actually, Scott brings up something important here. And I think we need a lot of people who do jobs out in the public that a lot of people see on a very regular basis. I think we need emails that tell us the most common overused, tired joke that you hear over and over again so that we can get that out to the public and to ourselves so we know which ones to retire. So that it just makes everybody's day better. Like, for example, when I introduce myself to somebody, oh, your name's Adam? Yes. Huh, where's Eve?
Right.
You know?
That can be retired?
Yeah. Hey, man, you want to put that beer in my car? I get it. I'm with Scott on this. So I'm glad the surplus of beer in the land of plenty keeps Scott happy with his beer consumption, and he's still able to do it, because I was worried. I was worried for him.
You know, I've never once thought to myself that you should find a nice woman named Eve to settle down with.
Oh, God. Yeah, how bad would that be? I mean, unless she was awesome, I guess, but I don't know. I've never tried dating an Eve.
Well, that's probably the problem. That could be part of the issue. How many Eves do you come
across, though? I don't think it's all that common anymore.
It's not as common as Adam.
No, because Adam being so common, they're like, I don't know you from Adam. Like, that's an actual phrase.
Right.
Well, I'm lamenting the commonness of my name to a man named Brandon. So,
mine's not that common. It's not like Scott.
Isn't it?
It's not that common.
With your funky spelling.
Yeah, even DON's not that common.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
I know a hell of a lot of Brandons.
Okay.
In fact, I know so many Brandons that when I have conversations with friends and stuff, I have to be like, okay, Brandon in Phillipsburg, Brandon, my buddy I do the pod with, Brandon, my cousin. I've got to delineate which Brandon I'm speaking of. That's how many. I'm Brandon Rich in my life.
That sounds like a you problem or a you benefit.
I don't know. It has to be a benefit or a problem. I think the frequency or the amount of Brandons in my life is maybe just net neutral.
All right. What do you say we get on to do better and better at life?
All right, man. My do better this week is for Tyler Lockett.
What?
I know. A lot of people might be stunned by this because he had a great game. But Tyler Lockett made a terrible mistake. I don't know what he was thinking. After scoring the touchdown, he walks over to the dirtbag Floyd Money Mayweather and presents him a gift of a game ball. I don't understand that for the life of me. Just because Floyd's rich and he's famous for being arguably one of the best boxers of all time doesn't mean he's not a D-bag, okay? Because he is. And for Tyler Lockett to go and give somebody that freaking rich and that big of a jerk a gift in the middle of the game, who's obviously there as a Rams fan because it's, the celebrity of LA, I'm guessing anyways. He's probably not a fan of anybody except for himself, because that's all he freaking cares about anyways. But Tyler Lockett, gotta know who you're giving the ball to, man. I'm sure there was a Seahawks fan somewhere along the perimeter there you could have given the ball to instead of that jerkwad. Tyler Lockett, do better.
Yeah. Throw Brandon Cooks in there too for doing the same thing not too long after that.
That's when it became a real issue. Yeah, for sure. But Tyler Lockett started the train.
Come on, Tyler.
I don't know. I wasn't impressed.
My do better is for the entire NFL. I don't know if you saw this. We saw the visor again on Schottenheimer this week, but because it is Salute to Service Month, it was an olive green visor. Mm-hmm. How is the NFL making Salute to Service visors? I've never seen the visor as any part of a military uniform. A beret, maybe. A ball cap, sure. But never a visor. NFL, do better.
There's no military visors?
No military visors. Never seen one.
Well, that just shows just how brilliant and intelligent the leaders of our amazing armed forces are by not allowing service members to wear stupid freaking visors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, is there a military somewhere on the planet that wears visors? It's like, it's like, does the Burmese army wear visors or something? Like, I want to know.
Is there, because as a military member, you want to kind of look tough in your uniform.
I suppose.
Visor doesn't really say toughness.
It says there's a 50-50 shot you'll be doing a keg stand on any given day. That's what it says.
Or you're going out to play tennis and, you get sweaty. You want you want to let the heat to escape off the top of your head, but you don't want the sun in your eyes. So,
there are hats that breathe. There are hats that breathe.
We need to see more tennis players in trucker hats.
It doesn't even have to be a trucker hat. Like my Seahawks hat right here. It's the 3930 that New Era puts out. has amazing breathable mesh in the back. Amazing. It's almost like wearing a visor, but without having to look stupid.
On to Better at Life. My Better at Life this week, I'm giving it to Universal Studios. While I was down here in Southern California, I went to Universal, and it's been a while since I've been, and they've changed one area of the park since I was here last time. It was the area that used to have the Back to the Future ride. Now they've changed it to a Simpsons ride, which was amazing. But not only was that ride amazing, there was also they had a Moe's, like a real life Moe's, a real life Lard Lad donuts. I went and got myself one of the big pink donuts from The Simpsons. It was amazing. And I went and got a Flaming Moe drink at the bar.
No way.
And yeah, the funny thing is I ordered the Flaming Moe. She goes, "Is it okay that it's non-alcoholic?"
No, it's not okay. I hope that was your answer. No, go find some booze to put in it.
That they have to explain that.
I'm walking around an amusement park with 3 young ladies. Like trying to hurt cats. No, it is not okay for me to not have booze in this drink.
Alcohol in it.
Yes.
But it was an amazing drink. So for Universal, for letting me live out my Simpsons fandom by drinking a Flaming Moe inside of Moe's next to Barney. Universal Studios, Better at Life than Skip Bayless.
Here's my only concern with your Better at Life this week. You said that the Simpsons ride replaced the Back to the Future ride?
Yeah.
Now, with your affinity for hoverboards,
I love Back to the
Future franchise, I know. How are you promoting a ride that replaced the Marty McFly's ride?
It's a better ride now.
What if they would have just upgraded the Back to the Future ride?
Well, they could have,
and then built the Simpsons ride somewhere else.
Well, that would have been ideal.
Yeah,
Bring back Back to the Future.
There's a lot of empty real estate now in California. Now that everything's burned down. Like you got all sorts of new space to work with.
Yeah. Well, and if you build on that space, then you won't have to worry about those wildland fires, right?
Well, once it burns, then you're good. You know, like that's it. That's a silver lining that a lot of people in California aren't looking. See, maybe we just need to give some Californians some wildfire advice. Being from Montana, like once it all burns down, then you're good. It's not going to burn down twice.
Well, there's 2 distinct landscapes in California. So that in Northern California, that might be true. In Southern California and the Chaparral, that burns pretty regularly.
Well, how fast do the trees grow?
Well, it's not trees. It's all brush.
Well, yeah, just another reason to not like Southern California.
But it's fine down here. Not quite as smoky as up north in California. Yeah. As we saw with some of those football games that still go on. All right. How smoky does the air and how bad does the air have to get to cancel a game? Apparently, I don't think it's possible.
Well, I mean, if you can see at least, well, I would put it in perspective like this. There are fog games, right? Mm-hmm. And they just play through it. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you can see 5 yards. I think you're good. I think you play.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. We deal with it all the time up here. Nobody ever talks about it, but like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter when
they cancel high school sports, though, when it's really bad.
I guess. I don't know. But, I was in Southern Oregon working this last weekend, and there was a little bit of smoke up there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it is a bummer, though. I mean, it stinks for everybody who's lost houses and stuff, man. Like I mean, people who die. I mean, that sucks. I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of, tragedy or anything, except for that's how I deal with everything. Whether it's tragedy or good things, I make fun of it a little bit. Yeah, the only way I know how to do it. But
that's how we deal with the bad stuff sometimes.
But good luck down there to everybody.
Speaking of which, we had one of our Ring of Honor members who lost his family lost their home in the fire down here, and I did put it up on check out our Facebook page because he put out the link. Some people they have issues with donating to the Red Cross because they never know if it's going to go to the local events. But one of the local banks in California set up a fund. So if you want to make sure that the funds are going to local families in need, go to our Facebook page and check out that post to the GoFundMe if you want to help out some of the families who lost homes and stuff in the fires.
Yeah, for sure. Because that would make you better at life than Skip Bayless. But you know who else is better at life than Skip Bayless, Brandon?
Well, everybody. Almost everybody, like 99.9.
Yeah, I guess I didn't narrow down much with that question, did I? But I can with this. He is the man in the middle, the man who plays the pivot. on the offensive line. The guy who has Russell Wilson touch his butt every play. That is
Justin Britt. I know this one.
Yeah, that is none other than Justin Britt. I love me some Justin Britt. I love that he's nasty. I love that he doesn't back down to nobody. I love that he took on Aaron Donald and made his life miserable all game to the point to where he got under that dirtbag skin so much that he tried to get him to fight him in the middle of the field. I love that Britt didn't even back down for a second in the middle of the field when Aaron Donald come running over there, with it in cowardice with his helmet on. Him and Dwayne Brown really, and Fluker too, but I mean, they are a unit. Well, gosh, and Sweezy as well. Like they're just mean, but within the rules mean. And Justin Britt, I in a lot of ways, I see him as the leader of that group. And just for him taking on Aaron Donald, not backing down for a second, he is better at life than Skip Bayless.
Indeed. And an honorary, but not official, because we can't give an official better at life to Andrew Whitworth because he's with the stupid Rams. But he did donate a game check to the Thousand Oak victims. So, a discreet and under the radar better at life to Andrew Whitworth.
Yeah, he is a good dude.
He did false start late in the game, which helped back up the Rams and lead to their second punt. So that helped us out too.
There you go.
So I could give him a real better at life for that.
Yeah, that works for me.
Gave us a chance to win the game at the end.
Yeah. Any Rams player who made mistakes that helped us, thank you. Yeah, you were better at life.
Although that kind of contradicts the Aaron Donald dirtbag comment because he did help us out a little bit in some. He was a net gain though or a net loss in helping us out.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
One of the two. One of the nets.
He kind of ruined the second quarter for us.
But on to the Packers.
On to the Packers. Thursday Night Football. We're usually good in prime time. We're at home at the Clink. We're usually good at home. We used to be good at home. Let's be good at home again.
And with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. It's still catfish. The Rams.
Yes.
Catfish.
The Rams. Are you recording me too?
Supposedly.
Oh, good. This is one of those road episodes that we just have to hope everything's cool.
This connection's pretty good thus far.
This is good. I'm wondering. I should maybe I'll just record.
Oh, I don't know. You went away. I can't hear you now. I still can't hear you now. No. This is better. Let's start the show. Welcome to the Seahawks podcast. I'm your host, Adam Emmert, and co-host Brandon Schultz has been silenced, as he should be. And this is going to be a great episode. I'm just going to monologue this entire thing. And I hope you guys enjoy, because I figured this would be a lot easier if we cut the logistics of having a partner out of it.